Coming up on Sports Paws, spring sports continues to push towards the playoffs.
And we will also recap the year that was in Quinnipiac sports. All that and more coming up on Sports Paws. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sports Paws. I'm Jordan Siegler.
And I'm Mark Spillane.
And we're down to our final 2 episodes of this semester.
And tonight we'll bring you highlights and recaps of all the Quinnipiac lacrosse action and take a look at the future of the baseball program.
But first, we'll start with some men's ice hockey news. It's been quite the year for freshman Sam Annis, scoring over 40 points while leading the team and all rookies in the nation in goals. He has won a number of awards and has now added a new one to the list. The Hockey Commissioners Association announced this weekend that Annis has received the Tim Taylor Award as the 2013-2014 NCAA Division I Rookie of the Year. Annis becomes the first Quinnipiac player in the program's history to win the award. Annis was a major contributor for the Bobcats this season, playing on the top line with seniors Kellen and Connor Jones.
But that's not the only hockey news, Jordan. It was announced today that Quinnipiac men's ice hockey will take part in the first ever Frozen Classic next year. The tournament will take place in late December at the Webster Bank Arena in Bridgeport and will feature UConn, Sacred Heart, and national champion Union, in addition to the Bobcats. But we'll start with some lacrosse stuff now that we've covered hockey. And with a 3-1 conference record, the Quinnipiac men's lacrosse team had a chance to pull one game closer to first place Siena in a contest versus Canisius on Saturday. The game was a chance for the Golden Griffins to pass Quinnipiac for second place in the MAAC. Which team capitalized on the opportunity? Let's check it out. Quinnipiac and Canisius men's lacrosse at the QU Turf Field in Hamden. As I mentioned, Bobcats with a chance to pull closer to Siena. The Golden Griffins with a chance to pass the Bobcats. And it's going to be the Golden Griffins on the board early. It's Nick Tuttle. He's going to dodge and dip past a couple of Quinnipiac defenders and score right there about halfway through the second quarter, and that gives Canisius a 4-2 lead. About a minute later, Golden Griffins continue to push. Jake Lorano cuts in. He shoots one past Gil Connors. 5-2 now, Canisius leads. But Golden Griffins are not done. Behind the net, it's Austin Romantic. He fakes right, goes left. He fires one past Connors, and it's 7-2. But we'll jump to the fourth quarter. Look out, Jordan. Here come the Bobcats. Check out this attempted comeback here. Michael Sagel's going to find Matt Kaisha, and he's going to score, and Quinnipiac cuts the lead to 11-5. Looking for more now. It's Dylan Webster passing to Matt Deal. He's going to score, and now it's 11-7. Quinnipiac would wind up making it 11-8 as Webster and Deal again, this time reversed. It's Deal to Webster who scores, and then they would make it 11-9 and look for the tying goal in just a moment after Ryan Keenan fires home a one-timer. Now here's the part you got to watch, Jordan. Ryan Keenan scores there. Now it's 11-10, under a minute to go. Bobcats with a beautiful look, golden opportunity for the leading scorer, Dylan Webster. Fires one just over the crossbar. Take a look in slow motion right here. Just misses that one. Bobcats almost complete the remarkable comeback. They can't. Canisius storms the field. They hold on for the big 11-10 victory. They pass the Bobcats in the standings. Here's Coach Eric Beckett after the game.
Well, I mean, they definitely played good slow-down possession game, and they hold the ball for 2-3 minutes at a time. They, when they have those possessions, then they score at the end of them. The game kind of loses its air a little bit, and I think we got short-timed at the end. And again, I think with our team, it's not a matter necessarily of who we play, but how we play. And we made a lot of mistakes. It was 7-2 at one point, and then 11-4, and then we scored the last 6. You know what I mean? To get it to 11-10, and we had the shots at the end of the game we wanted to have. But if you fall in a hole like that, in hindsight, we should never fall behind. We should have had this game in hand probably in the third quarter.
The MAAC League office announced earlier today that men's lacrosse player Zach Vihar has won the MAAC Men's Lacrosse Rookie of the Week award. Vihar won 19 of 25 face-offs against Canisius, along with collecting 14 ground balls. He also netted his second goal of the season in the same game. Vihar has been a key to the Bobcats' face-off success, ranking 22nd in the country with a 56.5 winning percentage. All right, Jordan, now we're going to bring in our men's lacrosse analyst, Arthur Bailin, for a buy or sell segment about the squad. Arthur, thank you for joining us. First, let me ask you, do you buy or sell the Bobcats winning the MAAC championship?
Well, guys, I'm going to buy the men's lacrosse team winning the championship. Now, I'm not going to go out and say that they are my pick to win the championship, but I definitely think they have the ability to do so. On the game on Saturday, they looked very good against Canisius, especially in the fourth quarter. And they showed resiliency, which to me is as important or more important than the amount of talent, which the Bobcats do have. One thing that was of note to me is how poorly some key players played, and yet the Bobcats are still in it. For example, Gil Connors, who has been a rock on this team for the past couple games, had a abysmal 38.8% save percentage, and that for Connors, that is a save percentage that is absolutely unheard of. But yet in the fourth quarter, in that last second, if Dylan Webster had hit the net on that shot, that game would have gone to overtime, and who knows what could have happened from there. Now, if the Bobcats can play a complete game against teams like Siena, the Bobcats can definitely compete for this conference championship because they definitely have the talent. It's just a matter of making silly mistakes and not letting those mistakes hurt them. They let those mistakes hurt them against Canisius. They had a few turnovers and they gave up a lot of easy goals against Canisius, and that sort of got them down early, but they were able to come back. And to me, that shows that resiliency, despite making mistakes, shows me that this team can compete, especially if they can sort of cut out those mistakes.
Okay, Arthur, next question. Is Gil Connors the best goalie in the nation? Buy or sell?
Well, guys, I'm actually going to sell Gil Connors being the best goaltender in the country. I will buy that he is a major asset to this Bobcats team. However, my biggest issue with Gil Connors is that he hasn't really faced the level of competition that a lot of the top goaltenders in the country have faced. And one name in particular that really stands out to me is Nico Amato, a senior from the University of Maryland. Now, the University of Maryland obviously has a very illustrious history in their lacrosse program, and the goaltender at the University of Maryland is certainly a prestigious position in the lacrosse world, and he's really met to the challenge. He's 7th in the country in save percentage with a .575 percentage, and he's 5th in goals against average with a 7.32. Now, what's the difference between him and Gil Connors? Again, as I said before, he has faced strong competition. He held number 1 Duke to 6 goals, held number 8 Virginia to 6 goals as well, Syracuse to 8 goals, all very strong, consistently strong, especially this year, programs. And, you can't really compare teams like Canisius or Manhattan to those lacrosse powerhouses. So even though Gil Connors has had a statistically strong year, he can't compare it to Nico Amato because, quite frankly, he hasn't faced the same level of competition. Now, I will say Amato did have a couple hiccups, especially against number 8 Johns Hopkins and number 6 UNC, letting up 11 goals each of them. But you know what? Letting up 11 goals to Hopkins and UNC is not exactly something I would get all that concerned about. Those are two quality teams, and I still think at the level of competition really sets Amato away from Gil Connors. So I will buy that Connors is an asset to this team. However, I won't say that he's the best goaltender in the country because, to be perfectly frank, there are a lot of good goaltenders in this country, and especially Nico Amato, who has really set himself apart from the other goaltenders in the country.
And our final question, Arthur, is do you buy or sell QU going undefeated for the rest of the regular season?
Guys, I got to sell this. And the reason I say that is because their upcoming schedule is very difficult. I won't even touch the game against Siena because that's a game in of itself, and there's obviously a lot of implications there for the team. But their out-of-conference schedule is going to be very difficult. They're facing number 17 Fairfield on Tuesday, number 13 Yale, and Air Force, who received votes in this week's poll. Those are 3 teams out of conference, but those are 3 teams that are very skilled, and two of which are actually in the top 20 in the country. Now, I will say that those 3 games, I'm not going to say that they're going to lose all 3 games because the Bobcats are a very, very talented team. And there is a little bit of extra incentive, if you will, for 2 of those games. Fairfield is a long rival for this Bobcats team, and this is a bit of a territorial thing. But at the same time, they might win 1, they might even win 2, but they're not going to win 3 because these teams are just simply too talented. And I haven't even touched Siena, and Siena is probably one of the best teams in the MAAC. They've got a very difficult schedule up ahead. So I will sell that this team will go undefeated.
Thanks, Arthur. After her unbelievable offensive performance in softball, Jordan Palucci has been named MAAC Player of the Week for the first time in her career. Palucci went 13 for 23 in the past 7 games with 9 runs, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 3 home runs, and 12 RBIs. Quinnipiac now has the second most Player of the Week awards for the 2014 softball season, behind only Iona. The Iona Gales came to Hamden this week to take on Palucci and the Bobcats. Quinnipiac and Iona at the QU softball field. And the first game of a doubleheader, we're going to join this one at the top of the first. It's Kristen Turner for Iona. She's going to rope this one into left field, and that's going to fall for a base hit. She'll advance Kelsey Long to second base. 2 outs now. The next batter is Katie Jansen, who doubles to right field. That's going to bring in Turner and Long and put the Gales out to a 2-0 lead. Now the very next batter, Sarah Schutz. She's going to single to right center field, and that's going to bring in Jansen, and the Gales have a 3-0 lead. Now we're going to the bottom of the first inning. It's Nikki Barber leading off the game for the Bobcats, and she's going to single, and on an error in the outfield, she'll advance to second base. Now to the very next batter, it's going to be Abby Johnson, and she's going to drill this one, and that one is not coming back. That is Johnson's first home run of the year, a 2-run shot. Bobcats now trail 3-2 after the first inning. Now to the top of the fifth, Kelsey Long. She's going to put that one down the left field line, and she's going to make it to second for a double. And Katie Newton will advance to third base on the play. So runners on second and third with 1 away. And it's Eileen McCann now that she's the next batter. She's going to send that one up the middle for a base hit. That brings in Newton and Long. Gales now to a 5-2 lead. Top of the sixth now, Allison Hand for Iona. And she handles that pitch and sends it. That one's going over the fence. A home run for Iona. And they go up, that's a 2-run shot for Allison Hand. They go up 7-2. They add another 2 runs to win it 9-2.
Well, Jordan, things weren't much better for QU in Game 2. The Gales topped the Bobcats 13-3 in 6 innings. Entering the 6th frame, Iona only led 6-3 before they busted the game wide open with a 7-run outburst. Quinnipiac failed to score in the bottom half of the inning, and the game was stopped due to the 10-run lead. 6 different Gales hitters had multiple hits as junior center fielder Allison Hand led the way with 2 hits and 4 runs batted in. Sophomore Jordan Courage went all 6 innings with 5 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts to earn the victory. Quinnipiac's Hannah Lindsley gave up 4 runs in 3 innings and took the loss. It's time for a break here on Sports Paws, but when we get back, we'll check out how women's lacrosse did last week and how it affects the team's playoff chances. We'll also take a look at one Bobcats baseball player that's been red hot at the plate. Stay with us. Sports Paws. We'll be right back.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Welcome back to Sports Paws, everyone. I'm Mark Spillane alongside Jordan Siegler. The QU women's lacrosse team hosted Iona and Marist last week for 2 in-conference tilts. Last Wednesday, it was the Gales in town to face the Bobcats. Would Kira Akwat and Quinnipiac start its homestand on a positive note? Let's find out. Quinnipiac women's lacrosse hosting the Iona Gales, and early on in this one, it was all Iona. This is really a tale of 2 halves this game, and it's going to be Iona getting on the board first. Mary Kate McCormick, she's going to dart in and score, firing one past Sam Tilts. Iona takes the 1-0 lead. Just 10 seconds later, Megan Testoni fires one on goal, and that goes in. 2-0 the Gales lead. Now 30 seconds later, Bobcats really struggling early on. Iona again. This time Erin Pugh darts in, and she fires one past Tilts. Just like that, it's 3-0. Just a minute later, though, Quinnipiac would respond. Kira Akwat left all alone in front. You can't do that. She's a leading scorer for a reason. She scores, Quinnipiac makes it 3-1. They would go on to score 5 straight. Let's check out how they did that. This is where they really started to take control of the game. Right here, it's Kearney Sneaks. She's going to take a pass from Vicky Kuhn and score right there. That makes it 4-3 Quinnipiac. And they would really not look back from there. Eileen Carey is going to put one home for the Bobcats in just a moment to make it 6-3. She would have herself a heck of a day. As you see, she darts through right there and scores. We'll jump to the second half now, and Iona trying to pull their way back into this one. It's Testoni who's going to score again. She takes the ball, darts past a couple of Quinnipiac defenders, takes it herself and scores. High right side pass tilts right there to make it 12-5 Bobcats. And then another opportunity, this time for Nina Veneziali. She scores to make it 12-6 Quinnipiac in front. But Eileen Carey would score her third goal on the day, completing the hat trick, as Quinnipiac would go on to beat Iona 15-9 and win their second MAAC game.
Well, then the Bobcats took on the Marist Red Foxes at home. They're looking for their second straight win, coming off the win against the Iona Gale. And it's senior day for the Bobcats. You're going to see here all the seniors getting honored before the game. And they're getting ready to go, trying to get their second win in a row. Starting the first half, it's 1-1 early. Jamie Romano, she finds Kara McHugh, who puts it past Samantha Tilts. Marist goes up 2-1. Later in the half, score tied at 3. It's Kira Aqua. She puts it in the net. And now it's Bobcats take a 4-3 lead. Bobcats on a roll here as it's, this one's Kira Aqua. Last one was Eileen Carey. Now it's 5-3 Bobcats. And right before the end of the half, Allison Gianta finds the back of the net. It's 5-4 Quinnipiac heading into the second half. Now midway through the second half, it's 10-9 Bobcats. Tierney Larson finds Kara McHugh for the goal to tie it at 10. Now Marist is up by 1, 11-10, and it's Kira Aqua for her second goal of the game. Bobcats tie it up at 11. Now Marist up 12-11 here. Free position goal here coming from Kathleen DeVito. And the Bobcats tie it up one more time. Now we head to overtime. In the overtime period, Allison Gianta, she's going to score a goal for Marist. Here puts it by Samantha Tilts, and Marist takes a 13-12 lead. They take that 13-12 lead into the second overtime, and it's Kira Aqua here getting past the Marist defenders, finds the back of the net, and like you said earlier, Mark, she's the team's leading scorer for a reason, but Marist would go up 14-13 here from a Tierney Larson goal. They would score another one before the game would end, and Marist defeats the Bobcats. Now let's take a look at the MAAC standings. Leading the way are undefeated in conference Marist and Fairfield. The Stags will head to Hampton this week to take on the Bobcats. They are followed by Canisius, who sits at 4-1. Then there's the 3-1 Monmouth Hawks. And rounding out the list is Quinnipiac, Niagara, Siena, and Iona, who all sit below 500. And at the bottom are the Manhattan Jaspers, who are 0-4.
And now we'll switch over to the baseball diamond as QU baseball first baseman Vin Guglietti was awarded the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Baseball Player of the Week award last week. Guglietti went 6 for 9 with 4 runs batted in, 6 runs scored, and he also belted his first home run of the season in the Bobcats' win over Dartmouth. After receiving the award last Tuesday, the East Haven native homered again on Wednesday versus Hartford before adding 5 more hits and 4 more runs batted in over the weekend versus Iona. Last week, Zach Daly sat down with the Bobcat slugger on Bobcat Breakdown to discuss his recent success.
The offense is starting to come around, and you seem to be piggybacking that. You got the highest batting average on the team. Do you feel any pressure to help carry the offense, especially sitting in the 4 or 5 hole?
Not at all. I mean, we have great hitters. I have great hitters in front of me, great hitters behind me. So there's really no pressure for me to do anything good, even though, you know, I've been doing pretty well lately. I have great guys around me to help protect me in the lineup. So, no, I don't feel any pressure in the lineup at all.
Season's still a little early, especially conference play, but you guys are doing pretty good in the conference right now, especially moving over to the MAAC. Sitting in 5th right now in the second to last playoff spot. What are you guys going to have to do to continue to push towards the playoffs and try and qualify?
Well, we have to have good pitching like we have been, good hitting like we have been. You know, just keep doing what we're doing and improve on the wins that we get and learn from the losses that we get as well. Skip and Coach Delaney emphasized that a lot, that you can learn more from losses than wins. So when we take what we learn from the losses and they start turning into wins, then it starts to roll on and we start winning more and more and more. So Coach Delaney and Skip have really been good about, okay, if you lost, keep your head up. If you win, don't get too high, don't get too low. Always stay on course throughout the entire season. I think that we're doing a really good job so far.
It was a big week for Quinnipiac baseball. After their game against Rhode Island on Tuesday was canceled, the team rattled off 4 wins throughout the rest of the week, with a 10-4 win at Hartford and a 3-game sweep at Iona. The Bobcats allowed only 1 run in those 3 games. In the first game, pitcher Thomas Jenkins went all 9 innings, giving up just 3 hits while striking out 8. Vin Guglietti added another 6 RBIs, bringing his team-leading total up to 22. The Bobcats now ride a 6-game winning streak into their matchup against Hartford tomorrow at home.
And Jordan, we reported last week that John Delaney has been named as Dan Guglie's successor as Quinnipiac's head baseball coach.
And our own Giovanni Mia talked to Delaney and Guglietti this past week about the transition. Here's a preview of what they discussed.
I ended up coming here and spent 4 years here as a player. Went on and played some baseball after college. And I always knew that coaching baseball was something I wanted to do when I was done playing in the professional level.
John Delaney has been one of my favorite sons since he played for us for 4 years here. And in 2005, he was a big part of the NCAA regional tournament that we got into at the University of Texas.
And I knew that when he decided to retire, he was helping to make sure that I would be the guy to follow in his footsteps.
He became a very attractive assistant coach. And, you know, I think that John has just really worked very hard at the whole college development of baseball. And he's done a great job. He's an excellent hitting instructor. He's an excellent recruiter, tremendous evaluator of talent. And knows exactly the true reason for coming on to college is to get a degree and have a great college baseball experience.
Make sure to tune into next week's show for the full story. Well, we're going to take a break here on Sports Paws, but don't go anywhere. When we get back, we'll recap this year in Quinnipiac sports and find out how the tennis and golf teams did this week. And we'll also reveal to you the top 5 plays of the year. Don't go anywhere. Sports Paws. We'll be right back.
The Bobcat Shop, located at 1010 Sherman Avenue in Hamden. Your #1 choice for Bobcat merchandise. The Bobcat Shop features 2 floors of countless styles and colors. With a full 19,000 square foot screen printing and embroidery operation on the premises, Campus Customs and Simplify can design and decorate any garment or promotional product as quickly as needed. Stop in and say hi.
I could really go for a Ray and Mike sub right now.
Come to Ray and Mike's and try our Philly chicken with cheese for just over $4, giant cheesesteak subs, and mouth-watering boar's head sandwiches for as low as $4.75. Q-Cash accepted just a mile down the road on Whitney, here at Ray and Mike's.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. I'm Jordan Siegler alongside Mark Spillane. The men's tennis team had 3 matches scheduled for this week. However, due to the weather, they only played 2 of them, losing 7-0 to Marist and 6-1 to Niagara. The lone win came from #1 singles, Kei Izaka. The women's tennis team continued their winning streak, winning all 3 of their matches by scores of 5-2, 7-0, and 5-2. The team now has a 5-match winning streak and remains undefeated in conference play.
Meanwhile, the Quinnipiac women's golf squad traveled to Providence, Rhode Island for the Brown Golf Invitational over the weekend. Play began on Sunday but was suspended due to darkness and needed to be completed on Monday morning. The Bobcats sat in 6 out of 13 schools after round 1 was completed on Monday, as Nicole Scola led the way with a score of 77. Quinnipiac finished in 7th, just 2 strokes behind Dartmouth College after the teams completed the final round. Scola finished tied for 13th in the individual competition with a total score of 163. Harvard's Tiffany Lim finished first with a score of 152.
Well, Mark, we're right in the thick of spring season, and some teams are beginning to make a playoff push.
And after such successful fall and winter seasons, it's worth a look back at all the big moments.
Matt Delaney did just that, recapping the Quinnipiac sports year thus far.
This year saw a change in Quinnipiac athletics. Most athletic teams moved to the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, also known as the MAAC. And for many of those teams, it was a successful inaugural season. The rugby team had a successful regular season, racking up 9 wins and only losing twice before falling to Navy in the ACRA quarterfinals. The field hockey team found success as well, the team went 5-1 in conference play and went on to defeat Robert Morris 1-0 to win the MAAC championship. The 2013 season was not too friendly to the Quinnipiac volleyball team. The Bobcats went 5-26 on the year, going just 3-15 in the conference. On the pitch, the Quinnipiac women's soccer team had a difficult transition to the new conference, going 3-8-5 in the regular season. For the men, it was a much brighter story.
There's not one person in the locker room that doesn't think we are capable of winning the MAAC championship.
And win it they did. The team defeated Monmouth on penalty kicks to take home the title, earning an NCAA tournament bid as well. The men would fall to nationally ranked UConn with a score of 2-1. We go from the grass to the court and take a look at the women's basketball team. The team had high hopes going into the season after winning the NEC championship last year. Quinnipiac had a strong regular season, going 21-13, followed by a deep run in the MAAC tournament. However, the Bobcats would lose to Marist in the finals.
It was much of the same on the men's side of the ball. The team fell to Manhattan in the MAAC quarterfinals.
And now to the ice with the Quinnipiac men's hockey team. Following a year that saw the Bobcats make it to the NCAA National Championship last season, the bar was set high for this year's squad. After a season that saw Quinnipiac ranked as high as 3rd on the USCHO.com poll, the Bobcats made an early exit in the NCAA tournament, falling to Providence 4-0. Talent was something this team did not lack, however, as Quinnipiac saw its first ever player play an NHL game. Junior forward Bryce Van Brabant signed with the Calgary Flames after his collegiate season and is already logging NHL minutes. The women's ice hockey team hopes to make a deep run this year, with the 2014 Women's Frozen Four being held at High Point Solutions Arena. However, Quinnipiac would fall in the ECAC semifinals to the eventual champion, Clarkson. Kelly Babstock is one of the most prolific players in Quinnipiac women's ice hockey history. In 2014, she would add to her athletic accomplishments, not only on the ice, but also on the turf. Babstock joined the women's lacrosse team, making an immediate impact by racking up 17 points in just 6 games. The men's team is enjoying a successful season in the MAAC. Led behind senior Gil Connors, one of the nation's top goaltenders, the Bobcats look to make a deep playoff run.
The MAAC teams don't know us and we don't know them, so it's kind of a clean slate for us. And I think definitely getting to that MAAC tournament and winning it is going to be the overall goal.
The acrobatics and tumbling team has enjoyed great success, going 5-2 in meets this season. The Bobcats will compete in the NCAA Nationals in the upcoming weeks, where they will look to take home a national championship. The softball team is playing around .500 with conference play this season. Pitcher Hannah Lindsley also tossed the first no-hitter in QU softball's Division I era.
The 2014 baseball season will be the final one for longtime head coach Dan Guglietti. He will be calling it quits at the end of the season after 21 years at the helm. Assistant coach John Delaney, a former player who won the 2008 Northeastern Conference Championship as a player under Guglietti, will become the head coach next season.
And finally, both tennis teams are enjoying success this season, with both teams in contention for a MAAC championship this year.
And now that we showed you what happened this past year, let's take a look at the top 5 plays of the year. Starting off at number 5, we're going to the MAAC championship game. Borja and Goita, the goalie, for the penalty kick, and he puts it in.
Guy does it all, Jordan. Right there doing the opposite of what you would expect, but he gets the job done. Speaking of scoring goals, this guy did it a lot for the Quinnipiac men's hockey team. Sam Annis, what a year he had. Bobcats win 4-1 over Holy Cross right
the
there.
National Rookie of the Year. Number 3, men's basketball playing Hampton. Final seconds of the game, Umar Shannon for 3 at the buzzer, knocks it down, and the Bobcats get the win.
Bench goes crazy. Look at Tom Moore. Back up, everybody. Back up. That's what he said right there.
And at number 2, to the Field Hockey MAAC Championships at Ryder. Amanda Danziger, she's going to get a penalty stroke here as she shoots and she scores, and that ended up being the deciding goal of the game.
Love that celebration, and it won them the MAAC championship. Speaking of winning MAAC championships, we'll go back to Borja and Goita and the men's soccer team, this time doing what you would think he would be doing, dancing around in the net there, dives and makes the save to his right. That is the MAAC championship clinching save right there. Check out his teammates as they storm him.
Oh yeah, they went crazy. But I mean, Borja and Goita, you said it before, guy does it all, absolutely. He saves the ball to win the MAAC championship, in addition to the penalty kick.
And he was named MVP of the MAAC championship for a reason, and last semester, the Q30 Sports Special MVP of the first semester.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for this week's episode of Sports Paws. We thank you for watching.
Stay up to date with all the action by following us on Twitter at Q30 Sports and checking out our website at q30television.com.
And until next time, that's Mark Spillane. I'm Jordan Siegler. Good night, everyone.